What's going on, my fellow DigiDorx? It's your good mate Tro here, and today we're going to be looking at one of my favorite new decks for BT-12, Shoutmon X7 with Shoutmon X7 Superior Mode. And I'll have a little strategy guide at the end, so stay tuned for that.
All right, first up on our deck list, we have 4 Pikmons. 4 Digitamer is all you need for this deck. You need the Pikmons for the draw power, very essential. Next up, level 3s. We have 4 copies of Shoutmon. Just still a fantastic card to have in this deck. You need that search power and the rush inheritable, absolutely essential. Next, we've got 3 copies of Starmons. Again, good for the draw power, inheritable, absolutely essential. And just need as many different Digicross Digimon in this deck as possible. Next up, we have Sparrowmon. I still stand by this card. Can get up to 5k all turns if you have another Digicross Digimon or Tamer in play. Very handy. And our last level 3 Shoutmon plus Star Sword. Now, I do still stand by this card. It's good for getting rid of those floodgates or for getting rid of anything 5k or less if you can get both Digicross sources under him. Now, moving on to level 4s of the deck, we have 3 copies of Shoutmon X3. Yes, fantastic addition last set to this deck. Fantastic drawing power, searching power, and yeah, just really good value. Next up, got a couple of new Digimon from set 12, Shoutmon King version, the BT-12 version. I'm not too sure how this is going to go on the deck. I feel like just slapping down a Digimon, then slapping down the Takikudo for the search would be really good. Really just handy. And next we've got a Shoutmon X4. Of course, just the one of. Again, now that is great draw power. Can Digicross it down to 1 memory. So very cheap. And next we have 3 copies of Shoutmon King version. This would be the BT-11 version. This card is nuts. It can just replace any Digicross source when you're Digicrossing. Just replace it as a stand-in. Plus, you know, the 2k inheritable. Fantastic card still. I know a lot of people only run it at 1 or 2, but I run it at 3. Next, we've got 4 copies of Darulamon and 4 copies of Ballistamon. Staples in the deck, in my opinion. You absolutely need these. You need the block of Ballistamon out. Darulamon, just fantastic for clearing those smaller bodies off the board. And when played with the Tamers, just such good value. Alright. Moving on to level 5s of the deck. I only run 3. I have 2 copies of Omni Shoutmon. Very good for the inheritable security plus 1. Absolutely needed in this deck. And 1 copy of Shoutmon X5. Yes, I still run Shoutmon X5 in the deck. You can Digicross him down to 0. Fantastic value, good surprise. for your opponent for game. Next, onto our level 6s. We'll be running 2 copies of Greymon. Fantastic card. Again, inheritable blocker. Absolutely needed for this deck. 2 copies of Shoutmon DX. I know a lot of people don't like this card or run it. I stand by it. Even though you can only Digicross it down to 7, you can still, if you can get Z-Grey and Omni Shoutmon underneath him, he becomes a very powerful Digimon. Can block, can swing for 2 checks. Next, we've got 1 copy of Mervamon. Absolutely clutch card. If you need that extra time and you've got the memory for it, I know it's very costly. You can only Digicross it down to 8 memory. Possibly cheaper if you got the Zenjuros on board. Fantastic for bringing out some level 4s. Possibly a King version from BT-11. If you've swung with that, with the inheritable Shoutmon underneath it with Rush, just for a cheeky swinging turn. Need some stuff in trash. You might not always have things in trash in this deck, but an absolutely essential card in my opinion. Next, we got 3 copies of Shoutmon X7. Now, Shoutmon X7 is just at 3 copies. I feel like that's all I need him to be at. He is an absolutely nuts card. You can Digicross him down to 2, I believe, and swing in with Rush. And if you can get all these sources underneath him, he becomes an omnipotent Digimon. Speaking of which, we are running 1 copy of Shoutmon X7 Superior Mode. Now, I'm only running it 1. I feel like that's all I need. I feel like I can cycle through this deck easily enough to find him when I need him. Don't exactly want to be stuck with 2 or 3 of these in hand. Even though you can Digicross with anything, it's not always the best play. So only run him at 1. Maybe in the future, run him at 2. Moving on to our Tamers. We have 4 copies of the very essential Taiki Kudo. Absolutely need to see this guy out if you want to Digicross. Same goes with the Tri-Tamers. I run 3 of the Taiki Kudo and Nene. Again, you need to Digicross from underneath your Tamers in this deck. That's where a lot of the power comes from. So yeah, absolutely essential. You need these Tamers. Next, I run 3 copies of Zenjuro. I find I need that memory, especially without the memory Tamer. Your opponent can choke you very easily. So in addition to Taiki Curly and Nene, they can gain you a memory. Zenjuro is very handy to have on board too. And lucky last, 1 copy of Akiri Hinomoto. I only run it 1 copy. I only had room for 1 of her in the deck, but still 1 is I feel like a good number to have her at the moment, just in this meta. I've got pretty good draw power on board, especially with my Tri-Tamers here, and plenty of search power, so don't always need the draw, but always good to slap down a Kiri and play a Darulamon for free. Alright, that's it for the deck list. Let me know what you think in the comments, and what you would do differently. Now onto the strategy guide.
Alright, so the main strategy you want for this deck is basically to get as many Digimon into your hand as possible. Alright, let's just start from the start. When we draw, we need to see at least Taikudo, and a rookie. If you don't see either of those, if you don't see Taiki or the Tamer, you need to mulligan. And if you don't see him again, well, good luck. You're going to need the heart of the cards. Okay, so let's just go from this hand. We would hatch Pikmons, say it's your first turn, Digivolve to Shoutmon, of course, you draw and slap down the Taikudo. That's the obvious play there. All right, now, talking more down the line, your opponent is probably going to try and not give you too much memory. And the chances they do, let's say they give you 3 memory. What I always like to do, if I have them in hand, and of course having a Tamer out, would be to Digicross Shoutmon King version, taking it down from 5 to 3, and a cheeky swing. Yes, it may die, it may go to the trash, and this saves as it is a material save 1, but we may need some things in the trash a little later down the line, just in case we need Mervamon to come out. Because if there's nothing in your trash, then there's no really point in paying 8 for Merva. Alright, so main strategy, get as many Digimon into your hand. Now, I say hand because this is now your safest spot for your Digimon to be. Yes, under Tamers is fine, but we do have Tamer deletion all around. Black War X Antibody is still a strong deck, even though it got the Greymon X Antibody limited to 1. And there are other decks out there, of course, that can delete Tamers and, of course, take advantage of your Tamers. Now, obviously, you don't want to have too many Tamers and Digimon out at once for 2 reasons now. 1, you've got too many Tamers and Digimon out, you're just going to get Death X'd straight up, board cleared. Even though you can save some of them, he can Digivolve your entire board, which can screw up a lot of your plays. And for a second reason is Bugramon. Now, not so much your Tamers, but if you have too many Digimon out, even just the 2, and one's weaker than the other, Bugramon does his thing, slips the bigger one under the smaller one, and again screws up a lot of your plays. So you got to be careful of that. And speaking of Bugramon, one of the only decks out there again that can bring harm to your hand, but won't worry too much about that because I feel all around it is an unstoppable deck. Now, speaking of unstoppable, Shoutmon X7 Superior Mode. Yeah, this Digimon is crazy if you can get it to go right. If you've got sources in your trash, you won't always have sources in your trash. Again, that's why I kept him at 1. But man, can he change things around for you really easily? On play, return all of the Digivolution cards of all your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of the owner's deck in any order, and return that Digimon to the bottom of the owner's deck. Pretty damn powerful. So, again, that and X5, they can Digicross down to 0, which is exactly what you want sometimes. Just for the surprise, just for end game, or even, surprise blocker that you need. Digicrossing for 0, very powerful, so I always keep these 2 around. Well, I always keep X5 around, and Shoutmon X7 Superior Mode, I'll see if I put him at 2 in the future, but for now, we'll see how we do at locals this week, and until next time, thanks heaps for watching.